Okay, so the book that I read, also by international bestselling author Quan Millz,
Yes.
is Pregnant by My Mother's Gay Husband. Now, I would also just like to say this book was supposed to be 3 episodes.
Mhm.
However, this book was made in 2018, so maybe before this hoe got roaches in her crib.
Mhm.
And
Right.
at the end, it ends to be continued. Stay for episode 2. I did not find episode 2. Didn't find episode 3. I saw that he mentioned it on Facebook when he released this one, that it was coming out soon, but I couldn't find it anywhere. So this book ends on a really giant cliffhanger. It's also much shorter than yours.
Yeah, because mine is 3 episodes. It was also published in 2018. That's what it does.
And we don't actually get, unfortunately, we don't get to the part where she's pregnant with her mother's gay husband. By the end of this book, spoiler alert, she does not even meet the gay husband.
What?
She has not met the gay husband, so she has not met her stepfather at all. We don't get any.
I'm about to Quan Millz.
So many questions, not enough answers, Quan.
Okay.
Can I call you that, Mr. Millz? And so this also starts off by saying that this is an urban drama from the mind of Quan Millz. Need to get inside there. Most terrifying place ever, I have to assume. It also says it's a work of fiction. Any resemblance to actual events, real people living or dead, organizations, establishments, locales are products of the author's imagination. Other names, characters, places, incidents are all in a fictitious manner.
That makes me think that some of this is a little bit based on something.
I have to assume so. And he doesn't say anything about stereotypes in this one.
Oh, really? Okay.
Nothing about. I mean, in the sense of like in his
little note.
There's nothing about stereotypes. There are a lot.
Oh, okay.
This book, I don't think it's worse than This Hoe Got Roaches in Her Crib, but it's not great. Not great at all. Okay, so we have a prologue.
Mm-hmm.
We love a prologue. And it starts off with 2 people, okay? We don't know their names. We don't know their names at all. We just know that it's a man and a woman. And so, this guy, he's yelling, growling in this woman's face. Would also just like to say that she said she'd rather die being choked to death than have this crazy, N-word, blow her brains out or stab her to death on some O.J. Simpson type shit.
Oh.
First page.
Beautiful.
I think that is so crazy to me. Because why is that on your first page? So yeah, so she's dying. She says that she's looking into his beady red eyes. She starts pleading with him. She's like, please don't kill me. Please, 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 please. And he's like, I'm gonna kill you. You're sorry. You're dumb.
Oh.
You've ruined everything. What she's ruined, what is everything? Who knows? This is the prologue, episode 2, page 2. And I don't know nothing, but she's ruined something. Also, we find out that she has a son.
Oh.
Like a little offhanded comment. And so she's about to die. She's on the brink of death and she's thinking about her son. She's like, I just had my son. Which, spoiler alert, not true. And she says, and I quote, she was about to lose him and her life, all because she couldn't kick her old habit of trying to finesse people. And now here she was getting finessed in the craziest way. Finessed out of her own fucking existence.
Maybe I don't know what finesse means.
That line cracked me up when I first read it.
Here's my thing. Okay. It means intricate and refined delicacy.
So she's intricately finessing people out of their money.
What? Oh my god!
She's scamming. She's scamming.
That's what I thought
she's
it.
doing.
That's what I thought it. Hustling. That's what I always thought it meant. Getting something taken from you in a slick way. Okay, I'm on Urban Dictionary now.
Okay, yes.
Okay, hustling. That's what I thought it meant.
You have to go to Urban Dictionary. She looks over and sees her precious baby. It's a he, crying in the background. So she's getting murdered in front of her child.
Oh.
Anyway, now out of her thoughts, the lunatic, this man who's killing her, starts for real killing her again. Okay. And he's like, no, I'm gonna kill you and pray that God lets you into heaven.
Oh, okay.
He said, shut the F up, say a prayer, and hope the Lord let your nasty, no good hoe ass through them gates.
Get that put on someone's tombstone. Quick.
She immediately is like, you know what? If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna say something to him. This is not how I'm gonna go out. And she goes, if you're gonna kill me, you know it don't compare to the fucked up shit y'all have done. The shit y'all gonna continue doing. I really don't regret a fucking thing, so go ahead and kill me.
Oh!
And he goes, oh yeah? Bet. He pulls out a huge knife from his jacket, and he's toying with it. It's like it's reflecting the light in the room. Scenic, really, how it's playing out.
Yes,
And he starts singing a gospel sound. It goes, there's power, wonder-working power in the blood of the Lamb.
Hold on, we gotta play it.
Okay, yes. He says he's singing it crazily. He licks the knife. And then he lets her go. He rushes across the room to the baby's crib, grabs the baby out of the crib. This is it. This is what this being the soundtrack to her dying is crazy.
Wait, hold on, keep reading so everyone gets a feel.
Yes, all of a sudden he let her go, rushed over to the baby's crib, who's still crying by the way.
Yeah.
Picks him up by the scruff of his neck.
No!
And stabs the baby.
No!
He stabs the baby in the back. End of prologue. End of prologue.
That was all fun and games.
That was all fun and games.
Until the baby died.
Again, we still don't know who this woman is. We still don't know who this man is.
Or who the baby is.
Who the baby is. We don't know anything.
Yeah.
We just know that the baby is dead and that he was trying to kill this lady.
And the mom was finessing.
And the mom was, of course, finessing, as one does. Now we actually are introduced to the main character, who I hope down the line is pregnant by her mother's gay husband, is named Shamaya. Okay, so Shamaya, she lives in the south side of Chicago.
As mine did. Mine did as well.
She in the ghetto-licious south side of Chicago.
Oh!
Let me make that clear. And so her mom is like yelling up to her, and she's like, what the heck does this lady even want? Her mom, whose name that I can't remember at the moment, but I will figure out, is actually her foster mom.
Okay.
Or like her adopted mom, so not her real mom.
Mm-hmm.
She's yelling up to Shamaya. She does not care. She's in her room. She's doing her makeup. Product placement, Fenty Beauty, Mademoiselle Exotic Tangerine lipstick.
Wow, this foster mom is nice. Oh, okay.
She bought that. And I'll tell you how soon. So she's doing her makeup. She's like, I'm so sexy. I'm going to make so much money. The men are going to love me.
Okay.
She is trying to save her coin because she wants to move out of her house and move to ATL. For those of you who don't know, it's not all about that life. It is Atlanta. Okay. So again, she's like, oh, I'm so bad. I need to make this money, make some boss bitch moves, move to Atlanta, and start a new life away from my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Her mom is still yelling her name, by the way, as moms always do. She says, she likes to call her mom a big bitch.
Oh.
And says that she sounded like Respucia from Norbit. Have you ever seen that movie?
No, I haven't.
Let me show you Respucia from Norbit. We have to get some background information. Here's a clip. That's Respucia. So that's the movie Norbit. You don't really need background information. You just need to know what she looks and sound like. Her mom is still calling her. She still hasn't gone up, but we actually get to meet our main character for real.
Okay.
And I quote, "Big bitch, know my name is Shamaya Chanel Stevenson. Baby, I'm 17 years old, not 7. Bitch should know that, especially since I got," and this next part felt very Wattpad. Very Wattpad. "Since I got the nicest sets, a firm 34C yellow titties, a 22-inch waist that bitches waist train for on a daily basis, 36-inch hips, and best of all, a tight pussy print that even Stevie Wonder's ugly blind ass could see from a million miles away. Bitch, I'm a whole grown-ass woman, not some little girl. What is she talking about?" And she's ranting to herself in the mirror while doing her makeup.
So many rants just in general and monologuing that are all scripted like that. That might be the best one he's written,
I'm like, okay, Quan, this is his favorite.
He loves to monologue as a woman.
He loves to monologue as a woman.
Anyway,
she then her mom actually comes up the stairs, and I quote, she hears her rhino-like footsteps making her way to her room. She's like, God, why did I heard her calling me? I didn't go. I guess I have to look like I'm doing something. She pulls out her school books, which we also never see her go to school again.
Oh,
never. We say that she has school books and like homework once, and then never again. And then her mom opens the door, and her mom's upset because how are you gonna make me climb the stairs? How are you gonna make me climb the stairs?
Okay.
And of course, as every child has once been yelled at for, our main character, Shemaya, did not do the dishes.
Yes.
And they're still dirty, and her mom told her last night, so she's like, why the heck are there still dishes in the sink? Now, Mama, her name is actually Ladonna. We find out right here that she's her adoptive mom after her father, Tony, got sent to prison for first-degree murder.
Oh, another father in prison.
Another father in prison for murder.
Does Quan Millz speak on his father? Was his father in prison?
Was your Mr. Millz
Mr. Millz
to the
come
camera?
front.
Was your father in prison? Yes or no? Maybe he just likes it when fathers are in prison,
Yes.
or maybe this is his critique of
Black incarceration.
black incarceration.
Did I say incarceration right? Incarceration. Anyway.
Let's stop where we're at. Yes, luckily he didn't get the death penalty, but she doesn't really keep in contact with him, and she's never met her mom. Her mom left before she could remember.
Okay.
And her father, I think when she was 7, went to prison.
Okay.
So she's been with LaDonna for a long time now.
Mm-hmm.
He never really talked about her mom, so Shemaya knows nothing of her mom, and of course, post 7, she really knows nothing about her dad.
Mm-hmm.
Now, LaDonna and Shelley, very quintessential mom and daughter who don't get along.
Mm-hmm.
They fight all the time. They usually just argue, but sometimes it does end up being, actual fights.
Oh yes.
So again, with the child abuse, he
Mm-hmm.
loves child abuse.
He does. Does he want to speak on that, Mr. Millz?
Were you abused as a child? And she's like, Mom, I've got finals coming up. Why are you even yelling for me? And plus, I never did the dishes. And this is my favorite quote in the entire book.
Okay.
And she said, you never tell Cassandra to do the dishes, not Katrina. And then her mom goes, little girl, first of all, you lost your goddamn mind. Your sister is autistic. How in the fuck is she gonna do the damn dishes? And Katrina is 4 years old. So they're still kind of getting into it verbally. She goes down, she does the dishes, and she's like, whatever, ho. Now, we get back into Troy. And Troy, he was a dope dealer in Chicago. South side, of course, because where else? They lived in a nicer neighborhood. He drove a Beamer. She was in the nicest clothes. And then
So it's like a Cinderella story.
like a Cinderella story. Rags to, well, yeah, I guess like she was in good spirits with her dad, and then he went to prison because he murdered someone, and now she's living with her terrible stepmother, her autistic sister, and then her 4-year-old. So there are no evil stepsisters this time, thank goodness.
Yeah. They're 4 and autistic.
They're 4 and autistic, so they're not evil yet. She's like, my life was so good. It was. I wish we could go back. But of course now she's living here with LaDonna, which is why she wants to go to ATF. She wants to get some semblance of her old life back. So they're staying in a raggedy ass Section 8 apartment in motherfucking Roseland, the far south side of Chicago. She says the neighborhood's super dangerous. They're kind of living in squalor.
Yes.
As everyone in a Quan Millz book is.
Yes.
And she's just really motivated to get anywhere that's out of here, but most specifically
Atlanta.
Atlanta. But she's like, you know what? But while I'm here, let me play by mom's rules because she may be serious about kicking me out, and I am almost 18.
Well, yes.
Now she works at, if you can guess, I'm sure that people in the comments can guess, at the most stereotypical black chicken place, Churches.
Oh.
And that would be a close second.
Yeah.
But I think it's because, if you didn't know this, that Churches, it's usually only where it's in the hood.
Yeah.
They put this in the hood.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why there's none over here. Which is why there's not a Churches very close.
We have a Popeyes T-Mobile combination though down the street.
What the hell? So she's like, now I'm gonna go work a shift at Churches. Mm-hmm. She's in there, she's cooking, I think there's maybe 3 people in here working at this Churches.
Mm-hmm.
Her manager and one other girl. Her manager, big time loser.
Of course.
Big time loser. And I will get into that. However, she goes on this very long rant. I think it's maybe like a page and a half.
Mm-hmm.
A page and a half about LaDonna and the fact that LaDonna cannot cook. And she says that LaDonna's lack of cooking skills, especially being an older woman, was just so unfucking believable. LaDonna couldn't even cook toast. How do you fuck up some shit like toast? Please do tell. Duh. Eye roll.
That was beautiful.
That was beautiful.
I really think Quan Millz is at his best when he's writing as a teenage girl.
I think so too. Especially because I feel like the duh eye roll is so real, actually.
Yeah. Duh, eye roll. Get that printed. Slap it on the pillow.
Printed. I'm putting it on a shirt. I'm putting it on hats.
Yeah.
And on the back, it's going to say Quan Millz, international bestselling author.
Yes! We need it. We need it right now.
And then she says, ain't nothing worse than a bitch who can't cook. And then probably on top of that, some whack-ass head and pussy on top of it. She says that shit was a triple whammy of whack bitchness. And no
Bitchness?
yes, and no man in his right mind would dare subject himself to such bullshit.
Okay.
And then she says that, granted, she can't cook either, so maybe she can't talk. But she knew for a fact she had her fire-ass coochie between her legs, combined with her succulent-ass lips and pierced tongue that could slurp a dick to death. And no man was gonna pass her up. Like, so she's like, yeah, you know, maybe I can't cook, but I'm the total package. Okay, pause. She actually didn't go to work. She just said that she worked there. We're back at inner monologue. This part was all inner monologue. I apologize, guys, for getting the book wrong. LaDonna comes in and is basically like, I'm sorry. I know that I'm hard on you, but you're getting older. You're gonna have a family one day. You're gonna move out. You just need to grow up. He's like, okay. Why are you still here? You said sorry. Why are you still here? And LaDonna's like, what do you mean? Okay. And she's like, accept my apology. And so Shemaya's like, okay, I guess. Okay. And then LaDonna's like, when you going to work? And she's like, soon. And she's like, bring me back some chicken. But she's like, that was a fake apology. You just wanted me to buy you some chicken. She says this in her inner monologue. And she's like, whatever. I got you, Mom. And she's like, okay, I'll see you soon. And she's like, oh, wait, pause before I leave. When are you getting off your shift? And she's like, oh, 2 a.m. Why are you working at churches until 2 a.m?
Are they even open that late?
No. She's going to her other job.
She's a stripper.
Yes. Literally, yes.
I knew it.
Literally, yes.
Okay, confession, whenever, like, you get mad at your parents and, like, you just gotta argue with them, whenever you were a teenager, did you ever go, I could just run away and become a stripper? Did you ever have that fantasy?
So this half of the room has not had that fantasy. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. We
Okay,
don't know
okay.
She's a stripper
Okay,
just yet.
okay.
You've guessed it. You've
Okay.
guessed it. And she does work because she has to pay a portion of the rent. And
What?
Yeah. She puts on her uniform, she gets in the Uber. Her Uber driver is described, but it's kind of offensive. It's kind of offensive. And not like super offensive, like not like a slur. She just says this ugly old Arab ass was already outside.
Okay, there was the Uber driver in my book too that picked for Krisha up from the was also described as an ugly Arab. Quan
Millz, we have some questions for you. Mr. Millz, off the record.
No, on the record.
I feel like you want to look. We have to get him Jules. You have to bait him.
Oh, okay.
We have to bait him. He's Quan Millz, international bestselling author. He's brilliant.
Yes, he is.
He's brilliant, of course. So he's not just gonna go answer questions.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Jeez, Jules. That chapter ends with her leaving for work and saying, "Time to make the shmoney." She goes into work, and there's only 3 people at her work right now. Big Charlie, and some other girl. So Big Charlie, is 30 years old, fat, has ashy black skin, dark circles under his eyes, and unkept dreads. And she says he looks like ghetto ass Shrek.
You should link up with Shrekquisha.
Shrekquisha. And so Charles, loser, is trying to hit on her the entire time. But he's like, let's hook up. And she's like, no, you're a loser.
Okay.
Get out of here. You're 30. You're not a man. She also says specifically where the church is. It's on 71st and Stony Island, and about a good 20 to 25 minute ride north from her and LaDonna's appointment on 115th Street in Roseland. In case you guys were wondering, landmarks.
Pull up right now.
It's already past 10 p.m. She's starting to clean up, and she goes, "Yep, you know what? I lied to her mom about working." She says she has another job lined up, one more lucrative than the shitty ass fast food $9 an hour gig frying chicken. Charlie's just being in there being a nuisance.
Okay.
He's like, I can make you more money than your boyfriend. I love you so much. Let's get together. Let's have sex. And she's like, "You're a loser. Get out of here.
You're the manager to go
You're
look
a
around."
manager at a church's.
Oh,
you
churches,
make
sorry.
you make $12 an hour, barely more than I do." And she goes, "What the fuck can you do for me other than cause me a headache and try to borrow money from me?" And honestly, maybe that's the most real thing that Quan Millz has ever put pen to paper for.
Well, yes.
Anyway, he's basically questioning her about her boyfriend. Spoiler alert, she does not have a boyfriend. She's just saying that to get her manager, who is 30 by the way, she is 17, off of her back because he will not stop.
They let her work at the strip club at... Okay, you'll get to that. You'll get to that.
Well, I'll get to that. Just hold your horses.
Okay.
And so he's like, "Let me make you some money. I've got some lucrative side businesses." And she's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And he's like, "Have you ever heard of Bitcoin?" No! I kid you not. And she's like, "Charles, get the hell out of my face." And he's like, it's this, and I quote, "It's this digital currency. See, I've been staying at my grandma's house because I've been putting all my checks and shit into Bitcoin. Right now it's like 50 cents a share. I've been buying that shit up left and right because in a few months this shit finna blow up. I follow these guys on this forum who says that shit finna..." And that's the end of it, because then she cuts him off and is like, "You're an idiot.
Yeah.
Get out of my face. I'm trying to leave."
Real.
And he's like, "Fine, but I'm gonna remember this. I remember all this. You disrespected me, okay?" He doesn't. We never see Charles again. She never goes back to churches. She hops into another driver. This one not described,
Okay,
which
good.
I was surprised about. This next chapter starts with a song.
Okay.
It's Nicki Minaj's bars from the song Truffle Butter. So this song is rumbling throughout. It's called Morocco's Room.
Okay.
That's the name of the strip club she works at. It says, "In a seedy part of Markham, the far south side suburbs of Chicago." And I'm starting to get confused because everything is on the far south side, apparently.
Yeah. So how are we going
deep
farther
south? We're going further and further into the south side, quite naturally. She's basically like, fiends are in here, dope boys, trappers, losers, literally the works. Everyone who's in Quan Millz books.
Yes.
They're on these strips.
Only the baby daddies, except for the ones in prison.
Except for the ones in prison or the ones who are dead. Her stripper name is Nevaeh.
Okay.
And in case you forgot, which everyone who has the name Nevaeh likes to remind people of, it's heaven backwards.
Yes.
There's more strippers. Stereotypical names. Portia.
Oh!
Quite naturally, every stripper knows someone named Portia, I have to assume. Strippers, drop it in the comments if you know someone named Portia. And now, to answer your question of how is it legal for a 17-year-old to be working inside of a strip club?
Okay.
She says, easy. Nevaeh lied, all thanks to a fake ID she secured from one of her boyfriends.
Okay.
Terrence, also known as a Lil T. He's in a gang. They started dating illegally, might I add, when she was in her sophomore year, while he was 18 after he dropped out of high school. And aside from hacking into unsuspecting people's bank accounts, he just did gang stuff.
Okay.
Gang affiliation. And now he's serving in federal prison for bank and mail fraud. And so she was like, "You know what? I don't want to go to prison for bank and mail fraud. I'm going to take one of these IDs," which, not sure why you would take one of the IDs that your boyfriend, Lil T, was using to do illegal stuff, like, I don't know, bank and mail fraud, and use that as your ID to work at a strip club. But that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there. Shemaya, maybe she'll learn. And at first she used it to open bank accounts, but now she uses it to work off, so also bank fraud. So lots of crimes are being committed here.
Yes.
Rooting
for her though.
But based on her fake ID, she's a 22-year-old struggling single mother from the west side of Chicago, going by the name of Nevaeh Perkins.
Okay. Wait, so she doesn't have a stripper name? She just has a
fake name.
Okay.
That is, of course, her stripper name.
Okay.
So she's been working at the strip club for 6 months. And Lewis, owner of the strip club, of course, he doesn't figure out that Nevaeh isn't who she says she is, because he's the owner of a strip club, and he doesn't care. He's not gonna go looking into people. He just needs strippers. This next part is our girl Nevaeh on stage.
Okay.
To and I quote, Chicago's very own Mr. Robert R. Kelly's homie lover friend.
Okay.
So that's the song she's dancing to. This next, I would think probably like Paige is literally just her routine on stage.
Oh.
Very descriptive. She takes off some clothes, and then all of a sudden the front door busts wide open, and it's the police. It's the police. They start yelling. They're like, "Turn the music off.
That's real awkward.
They're getting everybody. She also, mind you, she just took off her bra. She's like in just her like tiny thong.
So what's her thing with people getting busted naked?
What's her people getting? Quan Millz, you have some questions that we need answers. And then they call out her. She's being arrested. She is being arrested, and she's like, "What the freak did I do?"
Naked?
Yes, naked by the way. Naked by the way. And he says, this police officer, grown man, also police officer, is trying his best to resist the urge to check out her mature 17-year-old body.
Quan Millz.
Anyway, she is naked, but the police officer does bring her back to the locker room so she can put on clothes because they are arresting her. And she's like, "Wait, can I at least get my money?" And he's like, "No."
Oh.
No, and you want to know why? Because you're an underage stripper. Bomb dropped. So they started arresting people, some of the men. I don't think they arrest any of the other women, but they definitely arrest her. And when she gets into the locker room, all her friends are like, "What the freak is going on?" And the officer's like, "Ladies, put on your clothes, leave the club. Your friend here is getting arrested, and this club is getting closed down because she ruined it all for you."
And she's about to be killed.
Unfortunately, no.
Oh.
She doesn't get killed, but he does tell her coworkers that she was underage.
Oh, why would he do that? Putting a target on her back. I feel like
on her back.
that violates like a HIPAA law or something.
Right?
Not HIPAA, but
Some kind of law.
some kind of more.
I'm sure. Quan Millz, hit me up. Let's talk about laws.
Yeah. You ignore them in these books.
You do ignore them. And then we get another bomb dropped. She's like asking like who did this, and it was Madonna. Flash, next chapter, she is in a prison cell. She is, and they're bringing her to the visitation area because her mother's here to speak to her. And there's also an inmate, a butch-looking young inmate who is definitely trying to get Shemaya. But there is an officer in there who's like sort of got her back. She's looking out for her at least a little.
Mm-hmm.
Who's like kind of waving off the other inmate. And she's like, when she first gets there, Lana's like, "I warned you. I told you that if you were going to be doing dumb stuff, that dumb consequences were going to follow you. And guess what? You did some dumb stuff, and now the dumb consequence, you're in jail."
Okay.
Now, her bail was set pretty high, $15,000.
So she's gonna have to sit in jail.
However, maybe this is a typo. Maybe this is a typo because it says $15,000, and then it also said that all LaDonna had to come up with was $1,500. So maybe it's a typo. Maybe he just added an extra zero on the first one.
Okay.
Or maybe they're getting the rest of it paid, and all she has to come up with is the $1,500.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know how legal systems work. Maybe Quan Millz does. Quan Millz also does not know how it works. She's like, I can tell you where some money is, or we'll figure it out. It's only $1,500. I need to get out with her. Please, 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 please. She's giving her doe eyes. She's just trying to plead with LaDonna to get her out of this prison. And then LaDonna starts laughing, and she's like, "Yeah, I know you got money. You have $40,000 saved up in cash. I found it. I found all of it." And she's like, "Shemaya, you really thought I was stupid. I know you've been working at that strip club, and I was just waiting for you to save more money. I was just waiting around until that check was high enough for me to cash on." She called the police. She stole all her stripper money, and Shemaya's like,
hard-earned stripper
money, $40,000. Y'all, $40,000 is crazy.
Yeah.
And so Shemaya's like, "You know what? I'm gonna tell the police." And LaDonna's like, "What are you gonna tell them? That I stole the money that you made illegally as an underage stripper? What are you gonna tell them?
Yeah.
Like, you have nothing to tell him." And she's like, "I'm gonna get a new place. I'm thinking somewhere really nice."
Mm-hmm.
And Shemaya's like, "You're the worst person alive."
Mm-hmm.
And Shemaya's like, "You know what? I'll fuck you up." She's like, if you keep touching my money, I'll fuck you up." And LaDonna, she's getting ready to leave, and she's like, "You were scheming." She says, you get out of juvie for all that bank fraud and scheming you guys was doing with that no good man Terrence. I'm gonna be in Miami getting my fat pussy waxed." We don't really figure out how she found out, I don't think. But LaDonna goes, "Let me explain something to you, you young bitch. I got teeth in this scheming game. You young bitches nowadays swear up and motherfucking down. Every goddamn thing. Think you better than us old bitches. You young bitches swear your pussy don't stink, but I smelled that rotten, fishy coochie of yours from a mile away."
Wow.
And she's like, "You're smart, you had a lot of potential, and maybe you'll still have it when you get out in 10 years.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave you here
To rot.
to rot." And she said, "Just too bad you don't listen. Listen to a real ass bitch. Listen to a real ass OG. And she's like, I'm gonna put $20 on your books. The rest is up to you. I'm out. I gotta live my life because I just got $40,000. And she also, they come back to the idea of being, being fucked up because you did bad things.
Mm-hmm. Is that the moral you think people need to know?
Yes.
Okay.
That all your actions have consequences. Thank you, Sean Millz.
Yes.
Sean Millz, Quan. Thank you, Quan Millz. And basically, she's like, LaDonna has to pay. And she says she's getting booked on a variety of charges: bank fraud, mail fraud, money laundering, more financial crimes that are going to send her. She thinks that they'll send her to juvenile detention center and then to prison. Unfortunately for her, that's not true. And
they
are gonna. And so the officer's like, "Is your mom gonna post your bail?" And she's like, "No, I'm staying in here." And she said, "You don't have a record, but I'm gonna be honest with you. You're on your own, and you're gonna have a hard time in here if you don't act like you're with the shits.
Okay.
You're gonna have a hard time in here." And she said, "I hope you know how to defend yourself, and you know how to throw them hands." Oh. And Shemaya, she's just kind of like, she's really in her head. She's like, "I can't believe this is my life right now. I can't believe I'm 17 years old. I'm in prison." And she's like, I didn't want to go to college, but I could have. I had the grades too. And now she's here in a jail cell.
How does she have the grades too if she's out till 2 a.m. stripping?
Y'all, I don't know. Quan Millz. So this next chapter starts with her in her cell, with Junebug.
Yes.
The lesbian who is trying to, of course, have sex with our main character Shemaya.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going back and forth. She's like, "Don't touch me." She's just, just trying to caress her and be like, "But I want you so bad.
Okay.
I know you want me, string bean."
Oh.
Junebug, in case you guys needed the visual, she also slightly, she has an eerie resemblance to Queen Latifah's Cleo from Set It Off, in case you guys were wondering. And then an officer comes in and is like, "I told you to get away from her.
Okay.
Let's get out of here, Shemaya." Next chapter. Officer Shirley, we are introduced to, escorts Shemaya down to a visitation room where her social worker and her public defender is. A light-skinned, Jada Pinkett-looking woman and an older Hispanic guy. The older Hispanic guy is named Diego Juarez, who is her public defender. And then there's Miss Mildred Belizaire, I think I'm saying that right, who's her social worker, because of course she's in the system.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically she's kind of getting all sassy with them because she's like, "What are you even here for?" And they're like, "We're here to help you.
Mm-hmm.
That don't be like that with us." And she's like, "Okay, fine. This is serious. They can send you right now to prison 15 years minimum."
Nice. Okay.
And so she's like, "What the heck? This is my first offense. This isn't fair. I didn't do anything wrong."
So
anyway, and they're like, "Okay, fine. You can either plead guilty,
mm-hmm.
and you'll start serving a sentence immediately, or," and I need you to re-listen to the or you go back to your mother and you're under court supervision while you're with her. So basically house arrest.
So a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Quan Millz, has this ever happened to you?
Never before has this been seen.
Okay, but she's like, "My mom, she just left me. I'm not gonna go live with my mom. She's moving out of the state with my $40,000. I don't even like her."
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "No, you dum-dum. Your real mom.
Oh.
Your biological mom." And she's like, "What?"
Yeah, I've never met her.
I have no idea what you're talking about. She's very confused. She's like, "I don't know her. She left me. I don't want to go live with her. Give me prison." And they're like, "Shemaya, look at this very critically.
Mm-hmm.
You can spend the next 15 years in prison, or you can go live with your mom and basically just be on house arrest."
So yes.
And so of course one would go with house arrest. And she's just very adamant. She's like, "I'm not going with her. I'm not going with her."
Mm-hmm.
Until they drop the bomb that her mom has money now. She's living a pretty lavish life. And in Atlanta,
the home of dreams.
her dream. And she's like, "Okay, fine." And however, then she's like, "How do you even know this?" She starts asking questions. He's like, "How do you know my mom? How do you even know this is going on?" And she's just like, "Just trust me. I just need you to trust me." And Shemaya's like, "Fine, let's do it." But we formally meet Bishop McClendon, who is 39 years old, and he was
they're talking about him like he's like a singer, but he's Atlanta's hottest and most charismatic mega church pastor. He's a role model for kids. He's popular. He's well spoken. He's charismatic.
Okay.
And it says that he's also very attractive. They call him Ghost because he reminded them of Omar Hardwick from the show Power. And so he just ended his sermon. Pastor Overton's like, thank you so much for those words. Everyone's like, wow, what a good sermon. This was awesome. And Bishop he's eating it up.
Okay.
Bishop McClendon. And they're starting to leave. Some of the other people are, you know, they're going back to their churches, and Bishop asks the pastor, he's like, you want to go eat food? So they go get food. And then time skip 2 hours later. This is also the beginning of the next chapter. Not sure why we needed to time skip 2 hours, but it's okay.
He does like the most meandering things ever. Like, so much meandering.
Hey King, get to the point. Get to the point.
Move it on.
This book isn't long, and it very rarely gets to the point quickly.
Yes.
So we spend pages and pages of actually just BS.
Yes.
If you would believe. And so we also hear a tale of a deacon named Deacon Durden. We meet some more church people. We get to learn some more about Pastor Randolph. He's 32 and says he resembles a muscular Lance Gross. And that he's in the market for a wife, in case anyone was wondering.
Oh, okay.
And he wants to ensure his future wife be consecrated. Is that what that word is? And soaked in the red blood of Jesus. Bishop McClendon's phone, he picks it up, and it's the First Lady of the Church, Evelyn. Spoiler alert, Evelyn is also
consecrated.
Yes.
You're right.
Is also Shemaya's mother.
Oh, I had an Evelyn in my book too.
Evelyn, he loves the name Evelyn.
For mothers.
For mothers. And so basically Evelyn, she's just talking about how like she's over here looking at some properties, and she's probably not going to be back for a little while. We learned a little more about them. Nothing important.
Yes.
Truly nothing important. The bishop hangs up and she's like, I'll call you when I'm headed home. She's trying to get a property for a rehab. And the bishop gets a weird text that on his phone that makes him giggle. The pastor's like, oh, who was that? And he says it's his wife. It's not his wife. The pastor's like, okay, thanks, for seeing me. Glad we had this talk. And Bishop's like, I'll see you tomorrow. And then a college kid walks up to the door. He goes specifically to Morehouse College, named Larnell. The pastor recognizes him and is like, hey, what are you doing here? And the bishop is like, oh, he's my personal trainer. And the pastor's like, oh, I didn't, which weird, because this is like a 19-year-old boy. And he's like, oh, I didn't know that you like lifted and like trained and stuff. And he's like, we could do it together. And he's like, no, Larnell's got me on like a strict kind of regimen, so I don't want to mess up anything that he's done. And then the pastor's like, okay, then I'll see you tomorrow. And then the bishop turns to Linnell and is like, why are you here so early? I don't like lying like that. And Linnell says, and I quote, oops, I'm sorry, Bishop, but I figured since First Lady was gone, no one else would be here. He replied with his arms folded. He turns his apologetic doe eyes to Bishop. Chirping crickets filled the silence, engulfing the two. And then he says, come here and give Zaddy a kiss. I miss you, baby. That's what the bishop says. He kisses Larnell, and then there's a sex scene here.
Oh.
2, Love Galore by SZA, in case you're wondering. Soundtrack to Love Galore. And that's the end of that chapter. The chapter ends. It's like 3 pages, page and a half of a smut scene.
Oh, beautiful.
And then we go into, we meet someone named Miss Tompkins, who's escorting the First Lady and Deacon Durden through a property for the rehab. The rest of this is kind of just they're talking about the deal, and then she gets a phone call from a female voice, and it's Mildred. It's our social worker.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, we went to high school together. I'm calling about your daughter. And she's like, okay, what about her? And she tells her that her daughter got arrested and her foster mother gave up custody. So I guess, Quan Millz, answer me this. You said adopted and now it's foster mom. Which one is it?
Riddle me that.
Riddle me this. And she's like, I'm reaching out. I want to see if you take her in. And the mom is like, I don't know about that. I've got my life here. I've changed a lot. Again, I still don't know how you got my phone number. And Mildred is like, okay, your whole life here is a lie. And I'll tell people that, so why don't you get your daughter and let her stay with you? And she's like, excuse me? And she's like, yeah, truth be told, your daughter's gonna go to prison if you don't take her. Mildred, to the first lady, she says, I wouldn't necessarily say this is a threat per se, but given that I do know the truth about who you are, and based on my research, you do have an outstanding warrant from 3 years ago in relation to third-degree check fraud, I'd hate to be the one to blow the cover. Besides, neither of this is the point. The point is Shemai needs her help. Troy's in prison, and her foster mother doesn't want her anymore.
Yeah.
And then she's like, this is your daughter, take her in. Evelyn, she's like, let's not. And she's like, you're gonna take her, I bailed her out, and I'm gonna bring her back to my house until you come next week. That's your timeline. You get here next week and you're taking your daughter back. No ifs, ands, or buts. And she's like, okay, now you're gonna send me the bail money to bail your daughter out.
Okay. I still am so curious about this fictional deal.
Again, I don't know how we got here.
And then if she has warrants out for her arrest, would it? Okay. I'm not asking questions anymore.
Let's not ask too many questions because Quan Millz doesn't even know the answer to these questions. And so she's just, she's thinking about her daughter and she's like, what the heck is this gonna be? Now I have to go get her. This next chapter also starts with a song, and it's Kirk Franklin's Stomp. This is just in the pastor's car.
Oh, okay.
And so he's patting himself down, he's in his car, he's looking for stuff, and he's like, dang it, I left my wallet at the bishop's desk when they had got food earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Jason, which is the pastor's first name, that's my father's name.
Derulo.
Jason Derulo. And so basically he calls the bishop and is like, hey, I'm gonna come there. He texts him, the bishop's not answering. And so he just goes back to the bishop's house.
Okay.
Because he's like, I need to get my wallet.
But he's there with
Larnell. And so Jason, the pastor, comes in. Also, fun fact, the bishop leaves his house unlocked.
Oh.
And Jason mumbles, just because you live all the way out here with the rich white folks don't mean you gotta keep your stuff unlocked. Fun fact, also, the pastor used to break and enter into people's houses and rob them.
Were all of these people ex-cons?
Obviously, yes. And he's like, this reminds me back in my days. I've got like a spidey sense for it.
Spidey sense.
And he says robbing the bishop with such an easy setup would have been a gold mine. Anyway, Jason goes into the house. He's looking around the house. It's also dimly lit, so he kind of doesn't know where he's going. He's walking past the bishop's study, and he's like, there's some music playing in there. What the heck is going on? So he starts walking a little slower. He's taking steps toward the door, very steady, not to creak the floor. And he pushes the door open, and you'll never guess what he sees. Lionel, butt booty naked, on his knees for the bishop.
With Love Galore by SZA playing in the background.
With Love Galore by SZA playing in the background, of course.
Oh, okay.
And the pastor's like, what the freak, y'all? What is going on? I can't believe I'm seeing. She says, a tear of grief, yet rage escaped from the corner of Pastor Randolph's eye.
No!
And that he blinked a couple times to make sure he wasn't hallucinating. He just cannot believe his eyes. And he says that they attached to the debaucherously homosexual acts of sin the bishop and Larnell were engaging in.
Oh!
He backs away from the door and he goes back out to his car, and he's like, I'm gonna leave my wallet there. I'll figure out how to get gas somewhere else. This is insane. And so in the next morning, we meet Juanita, their Honduran housekeeper.
Okay.
She greets Evelyn. The bishop's already at the table, and Evelyn apparently didn't make it upstairs last night.
Oh.
I wonder why. And she's like, yeah, I just had a lot of stuff. Yesterday was super busy. I couldn't even make it up the stairs. I was so tired. And she's like, I actually have to leave right now. I just wanted to kind of say hi, get a little breakfast, and then I'm gonna leave because I've got another meeting to go to. And she has to fly out to Chicago.
That's what I was thinking. Is she about to get on a plane?
She has to fly out to Chicago for service. Service? That doesn't sound right.
Well, their marriage built on lies. So.
Their marriage built on some lies. But yes. And so she's like, I'm gonna go. And then she offhandedly tells him that he needs a haircut.
Oh.
This next part, I do think is not in church, but it is Evelyn, and she's praying with a woman named Joyce, Sister Joyce, who is battling stage 4 breast cancer. And she's just thanking the First Lady so much. And Evelyn is like, "You're welcome. You know, you already know you have me and the bishop in your corner. We hope you get better, and that this battle's gonna be over soon." And then she leaves Sister Joyce, and she's like, "I've got to go."
Okay.
Also, Evelyn ironically resembles a young Lynn Whitfield.
Oh.
Evelyn leaves the room and she's like, "God, that was the worst thing ever. It took so long. That sickly woman was days from expiring."
So
and
she's not a good person.
She's not a great person, and she's just like, "Get out of here." And her secretary, Keisha, tells her that she's got a meeting with Deacon Durden, who we did meet briefly in the scene where we first met the pastor and the bishop. So they've got a meeting. And she tells Keisha that, okay, that's great. And she's like, "You know what? Why don't you go home for the day? You know, I'll clock you out, and I'll put that you like work some overtime hours." And Keisha's like, "Thank you. I need that. I really need the money." And she's like, "Yeah, and you know, you can tell the security guard to that we'll lock up. Me and Deacon Durden will be leaving very shortly after our meeting."
They'll be leaving shortly.
They'll be leaving shortly after their meeting. Keisha leaves. And then Deacon Durden comes in. Crazy next part. She is cheating on her husband with Deacon Durden.
I figured.
And this next part is a long sex scene.
Does he describe it as wet, slimy food like he does in This Toast Got Roaches in My Crib?
She has a sexy young chocolate ass. She has a juicy cooch that needs to be out in the open, by the way.
What? No!
Because she's not wearing underwear. And fun fact, Quan Millz does address the audience. He says, yeah, you judgmental bitches are probably thinking she was a nasty-ass woman for not wearing panties. You're thinking she's gonna get a yeast infection or some shit. But Evelyn would be the first to let you know she took good care of that little pussy. Just worry about yours. Because some of you hoes gotta use a whole bottle of Lysol when you piss. Rank pussy-ass having bitches. Anyway. And we get back into the story. She's having sex with the deacon.
Okay. For a long time.
And they're for a long time. It's a couple pages. They're kind of talking about some other stuff. And she's just kind of insulting Sister Joyce. And she's like,
Okay.
"Oh, she said I would have come earlier, but that decrepit dying bitch kept blowing up my phone." I'm talking about she want to pray before she goes in for some operation on Monday. And she says, "Bitch, your ass got 3 days left to live. Fucking operation gonna do. Just let go and die, ho." And then she calls Keisha fat and illiterate and says that she looks like Precious. And then she talks about firing her and hiring someone else's daughter.
Not Precious.
Which is crazy. They have some more sex. And then he's like, "You know what? Maybe we should actually, we should go back to my place." And she's like, "No, I need that. I need you now.
Oh.
I need you now." She starts talking to him, and he's like, "You scared? There's nobody here besides me and you. Why do we have to wait 20 minutes?" And she says that he looks like a young Eldris Elba. Eldris Elba. Oh, in case you're wondering, he is 10 inches. In case you're wondering. And she also puts emphasis on the fact that he's circumcised and that his pubic hairs were neatly trimmed down. And that it had one thick vein running down the middle. That Evelyn likes a lot.
Okay.
And she said, although she hated vein dicks, this dick right here had that one vein that looked like if the doctor was in the emergency room and they needed to get blood from him and couldn't find a vein in his arm or legs. This dick vein was plump enough to have the perfect spot to drop some blood.
Okay.
And that his dick was harder than ever, and it was so hard that it looked like the wood that was used to make Jesus' cross.
Straight to prison. I actually think he needs to go to prison for that last one.
Straight to prison. And then she gets down on her knees and of course performs oral sex on him.
Oh, of course.
He's like, "Pay attention to the First Lady because I'm gonna teach you guys how to suck dick like your left depends on it."
Oh.
This goes on for the next page and a half.
Oh, beautiful.
And then they have actual sex. And then
does she go to Chicago?
Go to Chicago. And then she also reminds us this is her 95th dick appointment with Deacon Durden.
She's counting?
Whose name is actually Avery. His name is Avery Durden.
Okay.
And that he does have a wife, Sister Tracy.
Oh.
And they are still married. This next chapter, Shemaya does get she leaves prison, and the lady, she gives her an ankle monitor and is like, you're gonna wear this while you're at my house because you know, if I'm not gonna be home, I'm gonna be working, I'm gonna need to know where you are at all times. And she's like, this is lame. And then they go eat at Buffalo Wild Wings, and this whole next part, they're in the Buffalo Wild Wings, and they're basically just talking about what she needs to do, like go to school. So she's like asking a bunch of questions. She's like, why do I need to go to school? Like, why do I, I don't really want to. And she's like, I could make money dancing. I could make so much more money dancing than I could ever make going to school. And
yes, but you're a minor.
Also that. And so, you know what? Ms. Belizaire is like, what the hell are you talking about? You're an idiot. Ms. Belizaire basically is like, yeah, I used to strip. I did it for 2 years, unfortunately, until I got assaulted. Shemaiah's like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And she's like, don't be. And she's like, be thankful that you have someone right now who's helping you trying to get out, which is me. And she goes on to tell her that her body's a temple, not a Walmart, and Walmart sells cheap shit. And she goes, are you cheap? Ms. Belizaire brings Shemaiah back to her condo, and that's where she stays for the next couple days. We come back, and Bishop McClendon is preaching a sermon on Sunday, and first Evelyn's there, and Pastor Randolph is not kind of having it. He's anxious, he's not smiling for real. He's been praying over what he saw for the last couple days. He prayed so hard that he started crying. And he's like, I can't believe this guy who I considered a brother and a spiritual mentor was living a double life. And he's trying to tell he's trying to tell the First Lady. That's what he wants to do by the end of this service. First Lady Evelyn, she's talking to some other sisters. He takes her away from another member of the church, Brother Baines, and is like, can I talk to her for a minute? And he's like, yeah, go for it. He's just trying to get it out, and he's like, I've got something really important to tell you. You know, it's kind of crazy. I just need you to hear it. And then Deacon Durden comes over and is like, what are we talking about? And Pastor Randolph is like, you know what? I'll tell you later. Let's talk soon. Deacon Durden's like, what did he want? They start drinking together, and there's another sex scene here.
Between who?
Between Deacon Durden and the First Lady. But they are also talking about how she has to go get her daughter, who she's told, this Deacon Durden is the first person that she's told about her daughter. She's like, I have to go. I have to go to Chicago. I don't even know if my daughter's going to recognize me because she's never met me. I wonder what she looks like. He's like, oh, your daughter was a little hoe. But I'm going to help you. So that your husband doesn't find out that that's your daughter. And she's like, that's not my daughter.
Aww.
And then, big bomb drop. She's like, I don't want any of this to backfire and create a huge PR fiasco. The last thing we want is for a big-time black mega church pastor to be exposed for being gay. That's basically what she says. And she's like, yes, I know my husband's gay. She does call him, she does use the F slur.
Oh, okay.
To describe him, and then her and the deacon start to have sex.
Again?
Yes.
Take a shot every time.
And then his wife calls, and he's like, okay, I have to go.
Oh.
And he's like, I love you, and I can't wait to marry you, and we're gonna run the world one day. Which is crazy. And then the bishop walks in after Deacon leaves because he's been looking for all day, and he starts talking about Larnell. And he's like, okay, he won a scholarship. I'm gonna help him with some applications, and he's trying to study abroad, so he's gonna be coming over. It's gonna be awesome. And she's like, no worries, I actually have to do some work anyway. They leave the church, and he's like, text me when you make it to Chicago. And then she texts, and would you guess? She texts Larnell. She says, make sure you say everything I told you verbatim and do a better job capturing everything on camera. I'll have your money when I get back from Chicago, okay? And then Larnell sends back, gotcha. And so Larnell goes to go see the bishop again, and we also learn that they started the relationship back when Larnell was 16. And it says yes, 16, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, Lord have mercy.
And that Kevin was at first his mentor in a program at the church, and then they kind of they start to spend more time together. And the bishop, who's been struggling with his sexual urges for so long, couldn't help it anymore.
Is Quan Millz homophobic?
Or is Quan Millz gay?
Oh, that is a good point. How was the sex scene? Did it feel like an accurate gay sex
Did it feel
scene?
like an accurate gay sex scene? Well, I don't know, Jules, because I've never been a male who's had gay sex. So,
Keep on going.
so you do with that what you will, babe. And basically one night while Larnell was studying, they kind of started having sex with each other, and they've been doing it for years now. They also reference Future and say that's the power of that P. Well, in this instance, the power of that boy, B-O-I, pussy.
Okay.
And he wishes that one day him and Larnell could go get married, but that would probably never happen. And that over the last year and a half, he's been able to get the bishop to pay off his school tuition, buy him a new car, and give him spending allowance, and pay his living expenses.
So that's his sugar daddy.
Yes.
Okay.
For his apartment in Midtown, and pay his
In Midtown?
in Midtown.
Do you know how expensive it is to live in Midtown? I was looking at studio apartments in Midtown.
Mhm.
Almost $2,000.
And he's also been paying his utilities and his cell phone bill.
Well,
So
I
the
need to get
deacon's
me a
literally
sugar
paying
daddy.
for his entire life.
Yeah. We need to get sugar daddies.
And at first, not the deacon, the bishop. It's the bishop. And so the bishop has actually been doing this with church cards. Ooh. And Deacon Durden found out, and Deacon Durden was like, he was like, that's not out of the ordinary. But then he realized that it like started to be like really large amounts at stores that shouldn't have been, like Gucci and Prada. And then he brought it to Kevin, and then he brushed it off and stuff, and he told the chief financial counselor that he was using the funds to buy some of the young men he was mentoring clothes to build their business wardrobes. So of course
At
he's
Gucci?
lying for Kevin.
Prada?
At Gucci and Prada, I don't know. And basically the deacon gets with Evelyn, and they come up with their plan so that they can reprimand him for the financial things that he's been stealing, and also because he's gay. And that's what they're doing. That's what Deacon and Evelyn are doing together, while also having sex with each other.
Oh. Quite natural.
And it says about a month and a half ago, Evelyn and Deacon came up with their plan, and they cornered and confronted Larnell about the stending, and of course he lied, and said he had no idea what they were talking about, but they showed him like a bunch of receipts, a lot of overwhelming evidence, and he basically followed it. And now they are using Larnell to implicate the bishop for theft of church funds.
Okay.
And they're like, hey, we'll tell the world that he's gay, and expose your relationship because you were a minor, and I think he might be 18, so technically not.
I think you said he was 19 earlier, but
And they're like, yeah, you either cooperate and you talk to us, or we're going to tell everything about it, and the deacon's going to go straight to jail. And it says, do not pass go and do not collect $200, which is so silly.
Monopoly.
Reference to Monopoly, love Monopoly. And so they've basically just been plodding along. Deacon and Evelyn have been having sex, and they've been using Larnell to get more information about the bishop. They have sex again.
Oh.
This time to SZA's The Weeknd.
Oh, great song.
Great song.
Love Galore was good, but The Weeknd is one of
and
my favorites.
Would just like to let you know that this is described that the bishop, without hesitation, dipped his tongue inside of Larnell and ate his groceries like a fat bitch on an episode of My 600-Pound Life.
That's an original thought.
The bishop is then smoking weed with Larnell. They're talking, they're like caressing each other, whatnot. Larnell says that the sex with the bishop is bomb, and that he's kind of thinking about it because he does kind of like the bishop, but he's like, with this huge payoff, I'm going to be set for a long time. So honestly, kind of don't care, but he is guilt-ridden, and he does have a heavy heart. And he says he pities the bishop because he's gay, but he's a God-fearing man, and the bishop will never willingly come out, and that there are days that he could just tell the truth to the bishop, but he couldn't. And he also dreams of maybe that one day they'd be able to move and live in Miami or like Los Angeles or something. And he starts asking him questions about like coming out, and he's like, do you ever wish that you could live in your truth and live like your best life? And the bishop is like, I do. And it took me a while to get to this point, but I feel like a liar every single day. And I see someone who's deceptive and a con artist, and he Larnell's like, why not just, you know, stop being a bishop and divorce the first lady? And he's like, I can't abandon my church for lustful desires. And Larnell's like, I thought you told me you loved me, because I love you. I thought we loved each other. You know, I thought you wanted me the way that I want you. And the bishop is just kind of like sitting there in silence. The bishop cries for a second.
Oh, okay.
And then they have round 2.
Oh, nice.
And then Larnell offhandedly kind of requests $5,000 for a deposit for this trip to Prague, and he's like, "Can you help me?" And the bishop was like, "Yeah, I'll transfer some money to the church account because Evelyn keeps tabs on our personal accounts." And then it ends with Larnell asking the bishop to fuck his brains out. This next chapter, Evelyn meets her daughter.
Okay.
She gets to the airport. It says that she is on the plane to Chicago at the beginning of the chapter, and that that Evelyn is a name that she gave herself that's different from her born name, which is Contessa Clark.
Oh, Contessa.
And that she's made it, and that she has made it to where she's staying in downtown, and then Avery, the other deacon, is there.
Okay.
Anyway, he is there with her, and then they are actually having sex. It goes on for a long time, and then there's a weird offhanded comment about Malia Jackson. That they're also talking about his penis when they're talking about that.
So much.
This is a very long sex scene. In this next one, we're talking about business, nothing too important, and then they have sex again.
Okay.
At the end of the chapter. Finally, Shemaiah is going to meet her mother.
And what page are we on?
We're on 104.
Okay.
So we've got like 39 pages left.
Okay.
And nothing has happened, by the way.
Yes. Except for her
Nothing
getting
has
arrested.
happened, except for her getting arrested. And then Miss Bellazier's like, what the hell are you wearing? And she's like, you look like you're about to go in a club. And Shemaiah's defense is that the only reason that she had the outfit on was because she was going to meet her real biological mother for the first time. She didn't want to impress that bitch. She wanted that bitch to know that she was independent and really didn't need shit from her. She wanted her to know, despite her not being her life, she still developed her own sense of class, style, and elegance. And although it may have been somewhat on the urban side, she still had it.
Okay.
Okay.
Girl, she's acting like this was an optional
She's
thing.
acting like this was an optional thing. Also, it says that she's in a Prada black leather bodysuit, looking like a ghetto Catwoman.
How did she get the Prada?
I don't know, but again, also not to say that I'm like shaming her, but it's like a leather bodysuit, like classy and elegant.
No.
But that's neither
It's
here nor
okay, that's what
there.
we're thinking.
That's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there.
Okay, welcome back. So yesterday we filmed everything, and then I realized once we were done filming that my phone stopped at a certain point. So because I ran out of storage, which doesn't make any sense because I pay for storage. Apple answers for your crimes. So then I uploaded everything, and then I figured out that it wasn't going to work in Premiere Pro. Very long story, but that should be fixed. So the coloring should look really great now. If it doesn't, I'm a dirty, rotten liar. Okay, so Shemaiah just met her mom, and Evelyn seems super nice. She seems very happy to see her. She says that she's a beautiful young lady and that she's the perfect mixture of herself and her father. Then they go to her court hearing where Shemaiah finds out her mother's a pastor. She's Not
really
a very good
taken aback. Not a very good one, but she's really taken aback, and she's like, what the freak, why is my mom a pastor? But the judge does rule in her favor because she thinks that living with her mom, also because she's a pastor, will really help change her life. Evelyn and the social worker do get into an argument after they leave court, where Evelyn says that this was all under false pretenses and that she doesn't want to take this girl home, and Mildred, the social worker, reminds her that she knows about her and her past life as Contessa, who was a criminal, committed some fraud, and has some outstanding warrants out on her name.
I love the name Contessa, side note.
It's really silly. And once Evelyn is reminded of this, she stands down completely, but reminds Mildred that this girl, even if she had her, she's not her daughter, and that the only reason why she's taking her in is a favor to Mildred, so she doesn't spill her business.
That's really sad.
It is, isn't it? They all say goodbye to Mildred. She's kind of pissed off at Mildred because she's like, why didn't you tell me my mom was a pastor? I have to, I'm not a woman of God. And Mildred is like, I'm just doing this for you, queen. You're gonna miss me, but I'm gonna let you be upset.
Okay. she's also very weary of her mother. She doesn't quite understand why she's here now, and she does bring this up to Evelyn, and Evelyn's like, just trust me, I'll tell you really soon, and I'm sorry for leaving you when I did, which this all feels like a lie, but that's neither here nor there. Back to Larnell and the bishop. They've been together since Evelyn left, and after a hot smut scene between the two.
Oh, of course.
It's not.
The slimiest, the
wettest. The slimiest, wettest shower sex, I guess. There's no real scene though. There's no scene. It just says that they have it. It just says that they have one. They're together. The bishop is in bed, and Larnell leaves. He says, I'm going to go to the bathroom. But what he's actually going to go do is check some messages from the deacon about the money wiring and how they're going to meet up later tonight, and from Evelyn about where to send the files that will uncover what the bishop has been doing at the church with their money. He then leaves the bathroom after replying to them okay. Him and the bishop have sex again, and after Larnell leaves in quite a hurry, while thinking about how much money he's gonna have and how set he's gonna be for life.
Real?
And then on the way home, we go back to Evelyn and Shemaya, coming back to the south side. No, not Chicago. They're coming back to Atlanta.
Okay. The ATL.
The ATL, if you will. Shemaya starts questioning Evelyn about her father. She's like, why did you leave me? Why did you leave him? I don't understand. You abandoned us. And she's like, Shemaya, your father's a bad man. And Shemaya's like, don't care. I asked why you left me.
Doesn't get an answer.
I didn't get an answer. And she's basically like, I'm sorry. This was so difficult for me. He was my pimp.
It's hard out here for a pimp.
It's hard out here for a pimp, and your father was mine. Your father was my pimp, and he raped me, and he got me pregnant when I was 16, and I had you, and I was addicted to drugs, and I was a prostitute, and Shemaya is not having it. She's like, that's my daddy, that's my king.
Yeah, he raised me since
He raised me
1 to 7.
1 to 7 before he went to jail for murder. And she's just not buying Evelyn's story. She's like, this is super fishy. And Shemaya's crying, and Evelyn starts to console her, but she still doesn't trust Evelyn. Shemaya does not trust Evelyn, and she thinks that that something isn't right here. After that touching moment,
Keep going. I'm anxious about the phone.
Of mother comforting daughter, Evelyn then tells Shemaya that nobody in Atlanta knows about her daughter. Or about her past life, so she asked Shemaya not to say anything. Shemaya's upset, and she's like, why wouldn't I tell people that I'm your daughter?
So she's just gonna be a random chick living in her house.
She's gonna be a random chick living in her house, but she's like,
which I guess pastors might do that.
I mean, they're good people. These ones aren't.
Yeah.
Most of them are good people. They'll, open hearts, open home. But she's like, if you want to keep living the life that I'm living and allow me to give you money and shelter and things like that, then you're gonna need to lie about who you are. And so Shemaya says that she will. She also tells Shemaya not to curse in the house because, child of God. And then they go home, and they're still on the way home, and Shemaya's just not really trusting it. She's like, you're putting on this motherly act. I don't like it. There's more here than you're telling me. What's going on?
Yes.
They finally get to the house. Shemaya does get her own room. It's upstairs. The housekeeper's there. It doesn't really matter. Then Evelyn leaves. And that's the end of that chapter.
Okay.
The next chapter, bomb drop. The bishop is trying to get in touch with Larnell. Larnell is not answering at all. Not even a little bit. He's completely ghosted him, and the bishop is like, I need my fix. I need to have sex with a man. I need to have sex with a man right now.
Like a drug addiction.
Like a drug addiction. So guess what he downloads? Grindr.
Oh,
Quite
wait.
naturally.
Hinge.
and he downloads Grindr, and he's like, I should be more careful about this.
Yes.
But of course, he's like, I need this right now. So
I need the coke.
I need a man. And so he meets up with this man named Chauncey. He's 22 years old.
Can I see the spelling of that?
Yes.
Oh. That's like one that you see in Bridgerton. Okay.
That is, also, we know exactly where he's from. We also learn about his balls and his penis.
Thank you, Quan Millz.
Thank you, Quan Millz. And he's like, he's cheating on Larnell, but it's fine because I need this. And he really is like, but I'm a bishop and I shouldn't do this in public, but he can't, he can't stop himself. Yeah. So he meets Chauncey in a park.
A public park?
A public park, mind you.
What time of day?
What time of day?
It is maybe, it doesn't say.
Oh my gosh,
It
that
does not say the
that
time.
matters because there could be children in the park.
There could be children in the park, but I have to assume it's kind of late.
Okay.
Because, I'll tell you why
Okay.
in a second. And the bishop gets on his knees for Chauncey. In the middle of the park, he's sucking one. And then, you'll never guess what happens. 2 police officers
No!
see them and stop them while they're having sex in this public park.
Oh.
And the
That'll be
bishop
put on the registry.
he's sobbing and crying. He's like, my life is about to be over.
Well, you should have been in a park.
He shouldn't have been in a park. And there's some slurs hurled at them by the police. F slur, the N word. And Chauncey is like, man, F you guys. And so then they start brutally beating up the bishop and Chauncey and calling them more slurs. Quite naturally.
Lots of abuse of power in this book.
Lots.
We got it from the parents, the police.
The parents, the police. I'm sure in next book will be random people, everyone on the street. And then they bring them into jail, and at 1:45 p.m. Oh no, 1:45 p.m. So this is in the afternoon. So that was definitely like midday. That was definitely like very early in the day.
The children. Think of the children.
Children. Evelyn then gets a call about the bishop and how he's in jail, and she's like, "What the freak? My husband's in jail." She tells Shemaiah that she's leaving to go get a drink so that she doesn't know that she's going to go pick up her husband in jail.
Embarrassing.
She then calls the deacon and is like, "Hey, this freaking idiot is in jail. I don't know how he did this, but this dumbass has landed himself in a jail cell. Now I have to go get him."
Mm-hmm.
She then goes to the police office. The police office, the precinct, whatever you want to call it.
The PD.
The PD, and she's like, "What the freak did you get him on?" And they say 1 count of indecent exposure, 1 count of performing a sex act in a public place, 1 count of trespassing public grounds, 1 count of possession of drug paraphernalia, and it's because on Chauncey they found some cocaine.
Not even weed. I feel
Not
like
even weed. They found cocaine on this man. I'm surprised that Mr. Millz didn't just put crack in his pocket.
Yeah, cocaine is very classy.
Cocaine is kind of classy. The classiest thing about his book so far. And then 2 counts of resisting arrest, which he didn't really do. But that's neither here nor there. And Evelyn's like, what the hell? But she is glad that the police are telling her so that she can get ahead of the press and avoid maybe a nightmare of their entire lives crumbling. She then asks if she can speak to her husband, and these officers like, no, he's already in a cell. So she's like, how much? And he's like, oh, give me $500. She gives him $1,500 right then and there so that she can talk to her husband. She goes into the cell. The bishop, he's having a pity party. He's like, I had a good run, but at least you'll be able to live free. You won't have to be my beard. Quan Millz also talks directly to us again, and he says, yes, honey, you heard that right. Evelyn knew all along her husband was gay.
I love it when he addresses the audience.
And
yes,
I'm not sure why he loves to address the audience, but I'm here for it. Every person who writes books, start addressing the audience.
Yes.
Start addressing them right now.
It's giving Percy Jackson.
Percy Jackson. And he basically he needed a beard because he's a man of God, and he knew that he needed to have a wife because of God's unchanging words.
Mm-hmm.
And she's basically like, you need to get it together. No more random hookups. If we're going to get through this, you need to be very, very, very secretive about your personal needs.
Yeah.
And he's like, but no, but I'm still a man. You idiot.
You're just a man.
And Evelyn's like, you're an idiot, you messed this up, and...
Here's my thing. Evelyn wasn't at the house. They could have gone back to his house.
Well, no, because this time, no, she was at the house now.
Oh, yeah. Okay, never
Because
mind.
she's there with Shemaiah. So she was actually at the house.
He's not utilizing his church office enough.
He's not. You've got a whole church office. Deacon, no, bishop. This is the bishop.
I don't understand the difference.
I don't know either. I think my papa used to be a deacon. I think.
Jasmine Papa in the comments.
Jasmine
Sound
Papa,
off.
I don't even know if he uses YouTube, let's be so real. And she's like, yeah, we're gonna need all the help we can get to save us. I'm gonna call the deacon and I'll see you soon. And she leaves thinking that this is a Titanic sinking ship.
Yes.
Scandal in the making. And now we get to the end of the book. By the way, you guys, end of the book, and Shemaiah has not met her mother's gay husband, or she gets pregnant by. She doesn't even know that her mother has a husband, in case anyone was wondering.
And so, Quan Millz, like I said, releases episodes. We don't have, this is episode 1, whereas episode 2 and 3. I commented it on his last TikTok video, but he didn't reply to me. Quan Millz,
Release the second versions.
Yeah.
Release 2, release 3.
Okay,
Come on, we're waiting.
these are the next coming of the Bible. Quan Millz,
Sean
we need them. Quan Millz, we need them. Okay, and in the epilogue, is it epilogue?
I could say epilogue, but I'm not gonna correct.
Who cares? In the epilogue, whatever you want to call it, the deacon is in a parking lot by Larnell's apartment. And he knows this because the apartment is courtesy of the church.
Oh!
Yeah, I don't know if it's like given to him because he's like forlorn, and the church is like, we need to help the poor,
don't usually
or
do
if
that.
it's because it's from the money that the bishop has stolen from the church. I have to assume it's the second
I
one.
have to assume it's a theft.
And he's like, it's 12:01 a.m. This is the perfect time to do something shady. There's no white people around when walking their dogs, and then he actually does see a white woman walking, and he's like, oh, I'm kind of wrong. But that's not the point.
That's so funny. Quan Millz goes, it's a white lady.
He's
1
like
a.m.
a white bitch in green leggings is out walking.
That's what I'm gonna be for Halloween. The white bitch in green
Green
leggings.
But it's okay now because that doesn't really matter. It's only one person. There's also Larnell is singing a Robin S. song while checking his bags, his makeup, his wig, making sure he has everything because he's going to the Dominican Republic while all this settles down.
Okay.
Because he knows that that the deacon and Evelyn are not going to be happy with how this is turning out, and they're not going to be happy.
Because he's ghosting them too, right?
Yes, he is. He's ghosting everyone.
Because he doesn't want to exploit them. But he doesn't have to be, like, give over the deets anymore because it's about to be outed.
Now it's about to be out in the public.
Mm-hmm.
And so he also knows that that they don't really need him.
Yes.
They don't really need him very much.
Mhm.
And so he just want to make sure that they can't,
Get him, yeah.
they can't get him too. There's a knock on the door, ding dong, and Larnell, he's like, oh my god, it's so loud, because guess who he has in the house with him? His 1-year-old son.
Oh!
Named Caden. And so yes, he is gay. However, Quan Millz tells us that about a year ago, he was still like trying to figure out his sexuality. He was like, am I gay? Am I not? Am I bi? And so he was with the bishop and also his high school sweetheart, and they were together and had a baby. And then she found out that he was gay by looking through his phone and seeing some porn and some messages between him and other men, not the bishop.
Okay.
Not the bishop.
So he not only is he dating his sugar daddy, the bishop, a woman, and then other men. He's perusing himself
He's
around.
cruising. Well, he's not dating the woman anymore, but he was.
He was.
And then she wanted nothing else to do with Larnell, and she gave up custody of the baby.
Okay.
And has disappeared. And the doorbell rings again. The doorbell.
The doorknob.
The doorbell rings again, and Larnell's like, what the freak? Let me go to the door, and guess who's there? The deacon.
Oh.
And he realizes that Larnell has kind of changed in appearance. He's got on a wig, he's got on lots of makeup, and he asks if he's a slur. Insert slur here. And Larnell's like, no, you idiot. I'm transgender, and I am a woman now. And he realized that because he was like, I'm not just a gay man. I'm actually a woman trapped in a man's body, and that's why I like men.
But he's a trans straight woman.
Yes.
Okay.
And so he used some of the money that he has gotten from the church to start his transition. And then Deacon Durden's like, also, whose freaking baby is that? And he's like, it's mine.
Whose white baby is this?
Whose goddamn white baby is that? Just because you name him Darren, don't mean he's Darren's. And then something really weird happens, and we start to get into the dialogue from the prologue.
He's the woman from the...
He's the woman from the prologue. And Deacon he's so mad. He's yelling at him. Of course, it's just verbatim, almost exactly what we saw in the prologue. They're yelling again. He's like, you're an idiot. Why would you say anything? Who raised you? You're the freaking worst. And her new name, Valentina, no longer Larnell.
Wait, that's a good name.
Valentina, right? It's cute.
Mm-hmm.
He's singing the scary gospel song. He lets her go, rushes to the baby's crib, and he stabs the baby in the back.
Oh!
And apparently, and I quote, it's a vast bloodbath. A vast bloodbath. And Valentina, she runs over, she's trying to stop him from maybe stabbing the baby again, and he pulls out his knife and swooshes her neck like a Japanese samurai.
That is a great description.
Blood splatters all over the walls, over the carpet. Valentina's like clutching to the last bit of life she has in her body, and the deacon starts cutting up the corpse of baby Caden. And then he throws him like a piece of meat.
What does he think that, like, when the police show up, what does he think's gonna happen?
I wish I knew Quan Millz.
Quan Millz, it's 2018 is when you wrote this, right?
2018. It's 2025. Release them. Release them right now. As he hovers over Valentina's slowly lifeless, losing life body, he calls her a freak, and then he begins to hack her.
Does he know what he? I think that he calls her a freak, but he's hacking a baby, a woman, and a man of God, and cheating on his wife with another woman who's cheating on her husband, who she's a beard for. And then they're trying to extort him.
You're trying to extort this young woman, and now everyone is dead. And I wish I knew what happened next, because it says to come back for part 2, but there is no part 2, Quan Millz.
Yeah, and so why? So this woman did not get pregnant by her mother's gay husband.
There's no pregnancy. We haven't met the gay husband. She barely met her mom. Last time we see the gay husband, he's in a prison cell. He's in a jail cell.
Final thoughts? What would you rate that book?
What would I rate this book? Out of 5, I'd probably give it maybe a 2. It wasn't like the worst thing I've ever read. You know, the people on Wattpad and AO3, they get crazy.
But will I say, they have really good writing. I will say, I love it when he addresses the audience. I love how he describes things. But like we said, he meanders.
And especially specifically in this book. 143 pages. I would say probably 100 of them are all meandering.
Yes, and I'm like, can we move the plot?
This could have been a really short, this could have been, you put this on Wattpad, this could have been 5 chapters.
Yes.
Max of 100 words.
That was my issue with mine too. I would also give mine 2 stars, because I always do 3 stars as it was good enough that I would recommend it to someone. It just might not be my cup of tea. I don't think I would ever recommend This House Got Roaches in Her Crib, because it was so bad. Why are they making it into a Tubi original?
I don't know, but I'll watch it.
Here's my question. How are they going to handle the child abuse in this Tubi original?
I don't know. How are they going to handle anything?
Yeah, my other question, are we gonna see the roaches getting the train run on them on the kitchen sink? Like, are they gonna animate roaches?
I mean, they could, in Gnarly when they animated like the flies on the sandwich and they were having sex, so maybe they'll do the same thing.
They were?
Yes! They were on a corner of a sandwich.
Cat's eye!
We're gonna watch the Gnarly video, guys. And this is the start of our reaction channel, I feel.
Yeah, this was interesting.
But yes, I wouldn't recommend it. It wasn't very good, but it was entertaining.
It was. There were parts where I was entertaining. Like, when it was happening, and we were going, and then he would meander, and then it would, like, go. Also, the smut was disgusting. Like, I was so shook. Like, I was like, why is this the most disgusting smut I've ever read?
He describes things in a way that I'm not sure that I've ever heard described before.
He has original thoughts.
Only original thoughts, I think.
Only original thoughts,
and that scares me.
Yeah. Prison.
But maybe Tubi release the Quan Millz cinematic universe.
Yes.
I'm here for it.
Okay, so there was one white character in my book.
Okay.
And it was the lady at the front desk in the hospital. Tubi, call me. I'm getting my BFA in acting. Call me and I will play the white nurse at the desk in Chicago. I'll travel.
You'll travel. Hit her up, hit our girl up.
Hit me up. I need to be in This House Got Roaches in Her Crib. And like and subscribe for more. Jasmine and I are going to come back and do this again. But never Quan Millz.
Never Quan Millz.
Or maybe Quan Millz. She can recap it. I'm not reading another one.